Welcome to the Resilient Gentleman Podcast with your hosts, Douglas Berger and Christopher Payton. This show is all about forging unbreakable men on a path to greatness. Welcome to the show.
So are you getting anything from your inner circle? Are they on the same wavelength? Do they have the same ambition? Do they have the same capacity to improve? Are they helping you? Are they challenging you? Or are they just keeping you settled and complacent?
That's interesting. I don't know. Are you asking a question?
Sure.
I think it depends on how you look at it. I think, our closest friend group right now is friends of ours from church. They're probably my biggest fan, my biggest supporters, and of each other as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's hard to answer. I don't think any of them are holding me back from anything.
Have you had
How
any
would
time recently or in the last few years that you've had to move on from somebody that was in your inner circle?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. Yeah, maybe. That's interesting. I think there have been relationships that have outgrown themselves that we've
Correct.
had.
That probably aligns with your inner circle or the changes of, right?
Yeah, I think there's a point in time where I've maybe decided that, and maybe it's not even, it's like a mutual indecision.
Yep.
I don't know that, hey, we're not, I don't know if we're going to hang out with them anymore. And I don't know if it's a conscious, like, I'm not doing this, but maybe there's like, you don't go to an event.
Or a different level of the relationship.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden the invites stop coming.
Sooner or
both
later, they get the
mutually.
point.
Yeah. Well, but is that both ways? Or you miss an important date or event or something like that for them?
Yeah.
That they invite you to, and you missing it, did that offend them to the extent that your next invitation goes no showed,
Right.
or no response? And then it's
Right.
like, okay, well, they stopped coming to those invitations. I stopped attending those invitations. So this relationship's kind of just going sideways.
Yeah.
I think that there's an aspect of that from the relational or the inner circle being, you outgrowing it.
Yeah.
Or moving away from it. But I don't know if I would say there are situations where I felt like they were challenging my ability to grow.
So what are your expectations from your inner circle?
I don't know
Look
the
at that. I
answer to
get the answer to question. Ask the questions now.
Yeah, it's a different perspective sitting on the opposite side of the question. I'd almost have you ask that again. It's like, do I feel like there's anything that's... Ask it again. How you ask that?
What are your expectations from your inner circle?
I think the best inner circles have very few expectations. Like, I think, and I think there's a, define inner circle, like our closest friends. I have no expectations of like time spent together,
Right.
communication. Like, if they can't, it's good.
No
If they
judgment
can,
zone.
yeah. I think that that's an expectation, is like, if I've got to bring something to the table, and the first people I told I was starting a business, the first people that I've told about many things in my life are the people that are, that I'll be sitting around the table with.
So your inner circle is your inner support team.
Oh, 100%.
Any of them challenge you? When's the last time you've been challenged?
Physically, Brandon and I challenge each other.
Right.
I would say, from an accountability standpoint, physically, he challenges me all the time. I think, if we're talking about this from a business perspective, they challenge me, but I would say more support me with whatever decision I am making or whatever direction I'm going. Like, I don't think that there's like, hey, you've got to do this better, or
Right.
hey, you shouldn't do that, or whatnot.
Is that missing?
I don't know. I've not looked for it, so I wouldn't
Right.
say it's missing.
Okay.
So that's a tough thing to answer, because
Who would you say is pushing you the most professionally right now?
myself.
Yourself.
Yeah.
And then who's pushing you the most personally?
I mean, arguably, physically, it's Brandon.
Right.
But I would say but he has permission to do that as an accountability partner, right?
Yeah,
I think
that's true.
from an inner circle standpoint, and circle back to the expectations, I expect him to be hard on me for that, because I've kind of given him the permission to. I think if I, spread it out to, another layer of close friends, but maybe they aren't sitting at that table of every decision I make.
Yeah.
I think, it wouldn't feel comfortable if somebody else tried to get involved in that conversation physically. Business wise, I take input from a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I do have circles that I communicate business ideas and, thoughts to. You're part of that, where I think if I'm indecisive about something, or I feel like it's something that needs processing, it's a big decision, an expensive decision, there's people that I go to. And, that circle is one of those.
Yeah.
But I don't expect anything from them necessarily. And
What's
I think that's a great position to be in.
Yeah. What's a red flag, or when's the time that you know that you should move on?
I think if you feel like you can't communicate openly anymore, or you feel like you're being judged, if you walk out of the room and you're like, they're talking about me, and that feeling's in your head, whether it's true or not, if the feeling's in your head, you've lost your trust with that circle. And
Trust
I think
is
it's time to
everything.
move on.
Yeah.
And I don't, I mean, knowing Brandon and Danielle, they're probably talking crap about me sometimes, like he's such an idiot. But I don't think, I think that's more like he's a goof than a.
Right. And you guys are boys, and that's what you do.
Right.
Right. It's not actual criticism or
Right.
judgment or dislike, even though there's plenty of people that'll do that.
Right.
Because
But
most people don't have your back.
There's very few people that I would travel with, stay in the same house with, eat most every meal with, all that stuff, other than my inner circle either.
Yeah.
So so then circle that back to the original question is my inner circle holding me back? I think you have to define what from.
Yeah.
What are they holding me back from?
Do you feel challenged ever to get
I think
better?
they want me to be my best. Yeah. But I don't think they're like waking up and texting me, hey, did you do what you were supposed to do today?
So
They're not holding me accountable to something necessarily.
So that inner circle, probably more personal than anything, is pretty content leveled.
Sure. Now, I will say, I got a text this morning. You still working out? I haven't been to Brandon's this week. Schedule changed a little bit this week, and so I'm dealing with a different self accountability, but that's what I need.
Yep. That's exactly what we need.
And
we do that all the time. I mean, it's pretty good feedback. Say, hey, where's your ass been?
So, and I'm not saying you're looking for an answer from me that's specific to something, but what are you trying to are you suggesting with your questioning, with this maybe there is a time you should move on.
So what's more important, your personal and professional growth,
You know,
or just being content?
well, we'll circle all the way back to episode 1 or 2, where your
Happy.
ultimate goal is to be happy, right? And so, I mean, I think there's a level of contentment that I want to achieve, and I'm certainly in that window often.
Right.
But as we talked about then, I think contentment is on a, you know,
Yep.
it plateaus, and you
What's-
can maintain contentment and happiness. And
What's
then
the
you
famous saying? You want to surround yourself with those that you want to be like?
So, yeah, I mean, there's truth in that. There's truth in that. And I wouldn't say there's anything wrong at all with being like the people that I'm around. So, you know, I think there's people that may challenge you more in business or talk about different topics, maybe,
Yeah.
that I don't necessarily find enjoyable anyway. So, you know, I mean, I've been invited to conversations and meetings and rooms in Nashville of, you know, movers and shakers. And sometimes I question whether or not I'm supposed to be in those rooms. And then I'm like, I don't always love those people
Right.
or being in the room with those people.
What didn't you like about them?
That's unfair. Wow. All right, question guy. No, you know what? I mean, so sometimes I feel like as a business owner, as someone who has been at a pretty high level in their career, that some of the conversations are, I don't want to say they're below me. That's unfair. But there's
Surface
also
level.
surface level conversations where you've got to put on a show to be in the room, and I'm not that guy.
Right.
And yeah, I think one thing most people would say about me is he's not going to be fake. Like, if you spend much time with me, you are going to find out that I'll tell you like it is. I'm going to tell you who I think you are and all that stuff. And that, so sometimes, know whether they're below me or not, there's also conversations that are above my head or above my pay grade,
Right.
that I feel like, you know, those might be the challenging conversations you're talking about, but I'm not. I don't know that I want to be in those conversations either. And so, do you? I mean, do you find yourself desiring that?
The specific circle you're talking about, or the meetings where people are superficial or egotistical, it's about status and
Sure.
everything else? Absolutely not. I don't relate with that at all. What I want is an inner circle that's going to make me better. So continue your growth, whether it's professional, personal. But I do like to have those solid individuals in my life that when you're in the room together, it's cool. There's no expectations. There's no judgment. You're totally calm. You can be 100% yourself, totally relaxed. But I think at other times, we need to be in those moments with certain individuals. Maybe it's the same people, which is you're just in a different moment of time, that you're pushing each other.
Yeah.
And you're holding each other accountable, because if we're content, what are we doing?
Yeah.
When is
I
it
think
time
that's
for
fair.
someone to move on or change direction, or maybe make it adjustments in their inner circle, because maybe they don't even know they're being held back?
Right. Now, I will say I've got a competitor of mine who's one of my best friends and one of the people I talk to almost every day. Very challenging. We talk, you know, 90% business. He's a competitor, but we're each other's biggest fans.
Yeah.
And so we really want each other to succeed, want to see each other grow, all that stuff, but we do the same thing.
Right.
And he's in Atlanta. And so, you know, but we don't have like a market barrier in our business. I can do my business across the country.
And both you guys
Likewise.
working together, kind of, not necessarily together, but in the same industry, you could build each other up.
Correct. And so
Create
there's
that
been a lot
overall
of that.
awareness.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that, and collaboration on deals and collaboration on ideas. And so I think I have those relationships as well.
Do you have any relationships in your life currently holding you back?
Yeah, I started a podcast about 10 episodes ago. I'm just kidding. No, I don't know if I'd say that. That's
Out loud.
Yeah. You kind of put me on a awkward spot. All three of the people that are watching this episode are now questioning if it's them. I don't know that there's anyone holding me back necessarily. At least I don't know that. If I knew that, and maybe this is something that you do or don't know about me, that relationship wouldn't be in my life very long.
Right.
Like I feel like and there may be people watching going, I'm trying to hold you back. I'm trying to pin you down, and you're just not letting me, or you're exactly where I want you type scenario. I mean, I think if there's a malice, like if somebody's intentionally trying to hold you back,
Yeah.
I think that's brutal.
Do you think-
if you can flush that out, I think that's something you got to get after right away.
What about the people in your life that could subconsciously be holding you back?
Yeah, I mean that I definitely think there's scenarios of that in relationships that you just don't know what they actually feel about you. I think that's a scary thought,
Yeah.
and there's probably people who feel like he could outgrow me or you could outgrow them or whatever it is and not need them. And so keeping me in a certain level or a certain position might help them. I'd have to really spend some time putting that on paper, but
Yeah, a lot of people could be found in that jealous mode. So he's successful, he makes more money, lucky, whatever.
Mm.
But man, having that person that really empathizes with that and enjoys to see your progress, that's what you need in your life. What's a red flag when someone in your inner circle where it's time to move on?
I think, and maybe I'm assuming this is the case with most people. But I have that spidey sense. I feel like that's like pit of your stomach. This just doesn't feel right. I'm at the wrong table. I don't trust what's happening here. I think there's a level of that can happen. I don't frequent those circles. So I don't think that I know of anyone specifically that I could say like, hey, you're a red flag in my life right now. But I mean, I also, and this is something, I mean, gosh, I feel like I might have been 16, 17 years old, and I've maintained it my whole life. But one thing my dad said about me that he appreciated, that he felt like he didn't have, was he felt like I could have a conversation. I could walk into a room with people I despised and treat them with respect. And he was like, and he saw that in me at 16 years old. Now,
impressive.
The older I get, the harder it is for me to maintain that same position or same attitude. But I do feel like I don't mask my feelings as much as I age, but in sales, I think sometimes we have to put on a show or put on an act,
Yeah, I've been in sales for so long. I've been, the older I get, the more politically correct I can be, or more put on a show and be talking, and especially in public or whatever, have a very controlled outlook. But I'm still a very emotional person. And it's definitely hard sometimes just to hide my feelings and my gut feelings. And I do tend to trust my gut when it comes to people. And I just go with what I feel. Like if I want to hang out with you, I'll hang out with you. If I don't, I won't, but at the same time.
Now, do you communicate that though? Like
most of the time,
would they know that you don't like them or you don't want to hang out with them? Or
I mean,
does it become obvious?
there will be signs.
There will be signs. I like that. So, I mean,
No,
but
it's engagement, it's interaction. You know, I mean, I don't want to say I dislike certain people, but you know, some people that you're around, you just feel better with, and and I don't have a ton of free time.
Right.
You know, we're grinding and we're busy, so you know that personal time is very personal and it's important. And I want to share it with people that I feel comfortable with. I don't want to feel judged. I don't want to feel, you know, argumentative. You know, I'd like to be comfortable and people that want to have some fun, because it needs to be a distraction from everything else.
Well, so back up just a second. You said you don't want to be around people that judge you or that are argumentative, but define challenging, because I think you've said it several times. Like, hey, do they challenge you?
I mean, challenge you positively for growth.
Yeah. Then I would say then my inner circle is absolutely pushing me
good
to grow.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and you know, whether they're watching or they're not, they say they watch. And so if they're watching, I would say, yeah, continue to push me.
I say push them harder.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But
I mean, me too. I mean,
right.
Push me. Let's go.
Right. But I mean, so at what point are you going to move away from that circle if they push you too hard? Or do you appreciate
No,
that?
not for growth, not for professional, personal growth. Absolutely not. I will move on when it's a detriment.
So you thrive in that environment.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Yeah. That aligns with me. Like, look at the working out. You know, I'm 5 months removed from surgery, and I can't wait to hit that 6 months so I can go back into high intensity workouts again, or at least to some level of it. I won't be able to go 100% in probably for another few months just to be totally safe I don't re-injure. But man, I'm dying for it. I really am.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big piece of my life that I'm missing.
Well, so you moved here in July of 25.
Yep.
And do you feel like you've established those relationships here, or do you have to like look back to relationships and
replacing my inner circle is not that difficult, because my inner circle is very, very small.
Okay.
The intimate relationships, the texting more than a couple times a week, you know, getting together once a month or something like that, it's very, very small.
Okay.
And it's always been that way my entire life. I've always had a very small circle. Now, that secondary circle has not been replaced yet. The ones where you still feel comfortable, you go out or whatever, but it's not that intimate relationship where you're like telling each other everything. You don't have a podcast together.
Right.
You know, you're not hanging out, grabbing a beer whenever possible, and or just regular conversations. So, but that's important for me. And I've always been a bit of a lone wolf anyway.
Okay.
I love my time alone. No, sorry, Wanda. But she knows it. Like, I just traveled to Atlanta for a couple of days, you know, and I used to travel 3 weeks out of the month for work years ago.
Wow.
And even though there's challenges of being apart because of that, but then there's also, I really embrace those moments being by myself as well.
Interesting.
So it kind of aligns with the inner circle being a little smaller and tighter.
Yeah. So where do you see the difference between hanging out, friends, dinner, just couching it, whatever it is, and like how do you define, or how do you lay out a playbook for that inner circle?
I don't. I just let it play itself out.
Okay.
Let nature take its course, so to speak. But I want to be around like-minded people.
Yeah.
So there's going to be commonalities.
Yeah, but how do they know, like, to push you? Do you ask for it? Do you suggest that, hey, you know, let's say, they'll be fine with me having this conversation, but let's just say Danielle's watching this, right? And she's like, you know, these two idiots are talking about me. You know, how do I push Chris harder? How do I make, you know, like our inner circle, how do we make it better?
Actually,
or is it fine?
Actually, that's a damn good question, because
no kidding. Those are the kind to ask.
No, because maybe
You,
I
you
think
pushed me away from asking questions, and so I'm going to go back to asking questions.
I think I'm missing
How do we
something
define-
right there, because maybe I'm not asking for it. Maybe I should be asking for it.
Well, if you haven't built that circle, right? I think there's, in their defense or in the defense of anyone in your circles, whether they're your closest friends or not, if you haven't had the conversation, hey, look, because we originally were like vacation friends, right? We're gonna go on vacation together. Now we're gonna hang out, for birthdays. Let's go out for birthdays. We go out for Valentine's. We go out for anniversaries. We go out a couple times a week. They're like our best friends. They're going, all right, well, if I'm not good enough, or I'm not doing the things that Douglas thinks I should be to be a better friend, like, how do you define that? And does it have to be a conversation, or are you around the wrong people because they don't already drive that way?
It doesn't always have to be a conversation with me. Like it's more of a natural feeling, because I can sit with somebody in complete silence and be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to talk. Ask my wife.
Call it winning. But yeah, all right. So, and that's something we'll do a couple times a month.
Maybe we'll have a podcast episode. We'll just sit here and stare at each other.
I posted that photo last week of you,
right?
Lovingly looking.
Moment of endearment, right there.
Now because I question whether or not I'm that friend.
Yeah.
What we're sitting here having this conversation, and now I'm thinking about and challenged myself of going, do they feel like I push them enough?
Right. Maybe we
do
should
they want to be pushed? Do they
Right.
want to be like, or is everything perfect? And we'll likely have this conversation following up of like, hey, is our friend group at the level it should be?
Sounds like we have a topic at our next dinner.
Sure. Yeah.
Next double date, next meetup, next workout.
How far do you, and are we setting parameters for that? We talked about accountability in the past of like, hey, you can hold me accountable to this, this, and this.
Yeah.
But when it comes to cake, you better not ask me about it. Right. So in business, are you spending money effectively? Are you meeting enough people? Are you doing the things we talked about last week? Are you doing enough? And I just showed you, but talk about in sync with someone. Brandon watched the podcast yesterday from last Friday. He wasn't able to watch the live.
Didn't see it live.
Posted the Thursday following, right? So he watches the podcast and he sent me a picture. You will not believe what I wrote on my wall on Monday.
Before hearing the
podcast, he wrote on his wall. He's got black wall, almost that chalkboard.
Yeah.
So he writes with white pen, "Are you doing enough?" That was the title and the intro to the podcast. So, are we in sync? Yeah, probably. Are we pushing each other? Yeah, I think so.
So, it just proves the point. You're putting it out there to the world.
The energy,
even though he didn't actually see the recording. Now, could it be a totally coincidence? Sure. But you're also could be possibly like-minded.
Right.
Obviously you guys hang out, you work out together. So just having those traits and those acts of discipline, that means you're probably a little bit more mentally elevated than others to want to improve anyway.
Right.
So it kind of aligns very well, but it is pretty cool. It's like a
back up
goosebump moment seeing that, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was. I got
That's pretty
chills when he
awesome.
sent it to me.
Yeah.
But so there's the guy sitting on the couch right now. We've talked about him in the past where, he's now working out a few times a week. He's walking, running, jogging, lifting weights. He's following along with this podcast, and he feels like my inner circle is not pushing me hard enough. The guys I hang out with, the folks I hang out with are not pushing me hard enough. I don't feel like my inner circle is pushing me hard enough. That's what he's saying right now in the midst of this podcast. He's listening along and he's going, all right,
so that,
Douglas, You tell me, what am I supposed to do to find the friend group or to make my current friend group what you're suggesting it needs to be?
Right. That's a perfect segmented preference or perspective to look at. So you surround yourself with those people that like-minded, like we said earlier, professionally, personally. So if you want to hang out with drinkers, go hang out at the bar. If
Yeah.
you want to hang out with people that work out, go hang out with people that work out, whether you're at the gym, where you're doing meetup, run clubs, bicycling, walks, any other type of event of
Food challenges.
right, those two. At least that is a metabolic booster.
Yes, it boosted my metabolism.
Yeah. So your lifestyle change too is very correlated with who you're hanging out with and what atmosphere you put yourself in.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you're hanging out with different groups that are meeting to go outside versus, we're just going to go drink and play cornhole, or, hanging out at the bar on Wednesday and Fridays instead, why don't we hit up the run club, or, make it a small group workout session or something. And then also maybe you're throwing in there like a Toastmaster or Meeting of the Minds, or, one of those clubs or something where you're trying to stimulate mental growth or personal growth as well.
Okay.
Versus,
So I mean, if I define SMART goals, or I put goals together, milestones, objectives, things that I want to achieve over the next X number of months, right? Something specific, something measurable, attainable, relatable, relevant,
Yep. Timely.
or in timing, right? So we say over the next 6 months, I want to meet 5 new people that push me in these categories that help me achieve those goals within the next. Then I set those parameters. Like if I have the goal of meeting those 5 people, that's the SMART goal, specific of meeting. I want to meet somebody who's fit or getting into fitness or has the same goals of trying to push harder fit
Yeah.
with their health. I want to meet someone financially where I want to be,
Yep.
as good looking as Douglas Berger, right? So I have to, but I think I need to be specific and define those people if the people in my life are not those people yet, right? Is that what you're suggesting, that I replace those people?
No, absolutely not. If you feel the relationship is solid and you totally get something out of it, and or
Brandon Daniele's saying, "Oh,
you're
let's see where he
comfortable
goes with this."
I would definitely not say that. Brandon's a pretty big dude.
Brandon, yeah, I don't want him angry.
No, I would never say to leave somebody, especially if you're content, you feel solid in it, you feel comfortable with them. And just like you said earlier, you have that trust.
Right.
But when do you decide it's time to move on? And I'm just saying, surround yourself with people with like-mindedness, but habits that you want to be more instilled in your life. Like you might have the friends that it maybe in your 20s and 30s, used to love hanging out at a bar a few nights a week or something.
Right.
And that was me totally. But then now maybe it's time, hey, maybe I need to surround myself, or maybe that one of those people, they're still stuck in that rut 3-4 times a week. They're hanging out at the bar. And for me to hang out with them, I need to go to the bar. It's time to grow out of that. It's time to look at personal growth and professional growth, physical health, especially as you get older.
What if that was a goal?
Well, then so be it.
I
Be happy.
only afford to make it 1 time a week. Now I'm 3 times a week.
There you go. Be happy. I mean, if that's what you want to do, then do it. And if you're content with that lifestyle,
Again,
and that
I think
schedule,
it goes back to the goals then, and not to talk over you, but at the same time, I think you have to define those goals for yourself, because I think if you're being pushed by people that you don't want to be pushed by, you're going to walk away from those people anyway, right? I mean, those relationships aren't going to last. So I think you do have to align your relationships with goals that you have set, I think, right? I mean, if I want to be stronger, I need to probably be around somebody who pushes my strength levels.
Correct.
But if I want to be a better business person, I need to be around people that are doing good business, right? I mean, I think there's the rub off factor or like the distribution of that energy
Yes.
and that communication, that knowledge, that drive. I think there is something to that for sure.
Yeah, there's going to be nearly impossible to have one person be able to help you in all aspects. I mean,
Right.
you can only be a subject matter expert.
So how
really,
big does your inner circle have to be to achieve?
Well, those people helping you could be specialists.
Okay.
Or for hire.
Okay. So you don't necessarily have to define them as your
Right.
inner circle friend group.
Do you have to have an inner circle friend guy or girl that's pushing you professionally? Do you have to have that I mean,
Well,
it'll
you
be
brought it up
ideal.
last week, I think, when you said, can you look in the mirror and hold yourself accountable?
Right. Can you?
Sometimes.
So
Sometimes.
it'll be great, fantastic if you had that personal inner circle person that did that. But if that position is lacking or not existent, then you might have to go search for it somewhere else. Does that mean you have to add someone if it naturally happens that a person gravitates to that position eventually in your inner circle? Then great. But if you have to outsource it from somewhere else to get your better professional achievement or whatever the angle is that you're looking for specifically, then so be it. You got to do what you got to do.
So it's not Sabrina and it's not Wanda. But what if your spouse is who's holding you back?
That would be extremely difficult because then you're going to have resentment.
What if they're
and strains in your relationship?
Like sabotaging your health and fitness journey.
I mean, I got home last night. My wife did have 2 little pieces of chocolate sitting on the counter. I'm like, are you doing it on purpose?
She said, you're going back to 12%.
She goes, if I can't eat this, then you got
You know, and I don't think that that's sabotage, but I mean,
No.
I'm just saying from a, you know, and we tease each other, Sabrina and I often, where she, you know, I don't want you to have abs, you know, you'd be running around with a shirt off, you know, or something like that.
I think women love saying that because they're really going to love us anyway. And maybe it's the marketing out there now where dad bod is acceptable.
I think it's appreciated.
I think
it's something to be achieved.
That's a participation trophy.
No, it is encouraged, highly encouraged on this podcast to have the
dad bod's better, right? Because she doesn't like that guy that's super intense with his discipline.
Well, so that can be the case too. But okay. I think when you circle it back to being driven or being something, you know, to be held accountable, there is discipline that comes from that. And so sometimes the people that you are talking about or your spouse or whatever, if they're not in a disciplined mindset,
correct,
it's hard for you both, or it's hard for one of you.
And
there's a scripture that says, do not be unequally yoked.
Right. We're lucky, like
unbelievers, but
Wanda and I met in the gym.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good baseline for a relationship. For sure.
Intentionally, you are both.
And she is my biggest supporter, no doubt about that. However, does she have her limits with me? Like Sunday morning, let's get up and let's go for a hike. Like, oh my gosh, can we just sleep in for once? Or just, you know, can we just take a break? You know, so I do need a little bit of pushback from that sometimes too. But there's definitely a push and pull in there.
Okay. So, mailbag.
You got one?
We do.
What is it?
It's kind of a fun thing. So let me see if I can pull it up. And
I like the mailbag.
I can't see anymore. So
you want my glasses?
Yeah, sure. So what is the most unnecessary thing you've ever spent money on and still don't regret?
Oh, geez. What I just bought recently. A Corvette.
Yeah.
A Hummer.
Okay.
Do we need those things? Absolutely not. Can you get transportation from A to point B a lot more cost effective? Absolutely. There's a lot of things that we have in our lives.
Regret them.
Well, and
when gas is $4 a gallon, or $4.50 for premium, probably, right?
Well, last time on the way home from Atlanta, it was $5 because I got to put 93 in it.
Yeah.
So
but you balance that out by plugging in
by the Hummer.
right?
Yeah, I got the electric bill for last month. The Hummer only cost us $39 to charge it last month.
Okay.
So that saves us a few $100 a month. So in certain times of reality, like starting this business, moving here, those non-cost effective expenses that we have can be stress added for sure.
Yeah.
But hell no, I don't regret them at all, because I felt that was my own personal reward to myself for working as hard as I have, and the sacrifices that I made over the years. And I was able to finally afford something nice like that from something I always dreamt about. Possibly, maybe I'll have one of these one day, to the point where, holy crap, I actually am able to go in there and buy one and drive that puppy home. So now going back to regrets, I hardly will ever either at least admit a regret. I do, however, say all the time, hindsight's 20/20, and if I were to do things over, I would definitely make different decisions. But I do not have regrets, because I wouldn't be sitting here right now if I didn't make every single decision that I've made throughout the years.
Nice.
How about you?
That I don't regret, there's probably a few. I wouldn't say I regret having them, but I had horses for a few years.
Oh,
and they're not cheap.
I heard they're very expensive.
Yeah, they don't stop eating. They're very similar to myself in that nature. We got along great.
Your inner circle.
Yeah, my inner circle. But I might even say I regret, but I had some great opportunities of learning the challenges of owning them. And, obviously the cost was always like, wow, this is just.
What'd you do with them? Did you race them, or you just rode them, or?
Most of the time we just stared at them out in the lawn. Sabrina cleaned up after them a lot more than I did, but because I don't know if you know.
Now, speaking of regrets,
yeah, what they do after they eat is the problem. They do that almost more than they eat. But I think I had great time. So Sabrina's dad grew up on a farm, had horses. I mean, he had a heck of a cowboy, right?
Cool.
And so we moved to the South, we moved to Nashville, and I got to be a cowboy, right? We moved from Chicago, and I'm like,
gangster to cowboy.
city boy or whatever. And we didn't live in downtown Chicago,
right.
But we moved down here, and I'm like, oh, I got to become a cowboy. So got the horses, and we rode a bunch, but there were also great conversations, great scenarios that played out.
You ride English or Western?
Western. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I even know to ask that, and I'm allergic to horses.
Yeah. I mean, and so I would say that was probably an unnecessary spend that I don't regret because of what it brought to the family. But at the same time, there were days where I looked out in the pasture and I was like, yeah, I don't understand why I have lawn ornaments that are eating my grass. Right. And I think, it was fun.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily regret it. Certainly several vehicles I've bought and played with are unnecessary expenses, but toys are fun.
They're a lot of fun. I mean,
they can make you happy.
They can definitely make you happy. When you drive back and forth to Atlanta, it's pretty nice driving the car.
So what do you want to do after this? You want to go grab some lunch?
Yeah. Anybody around, come see us. We'll be at Jefferson's 1 p.m. sharp.
12 p.m.
Oh, sorry, 12 p.m.
I'm
still on Eastern time.
Yeah, you're in Atlanta time. 12 p.m. Jefferson's downstairs. We're on the square already.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate the feedback. Keep coming with the mailbag and the interactions. We love the positive, reinforced feedback that we're getting from people out in the public. We appreciate you guys a lot. It means a lot to us, and we'll keep striving to get better at this.
Yeah, and we've got a great team here at Spread the Positive.
Yep.
We're in the Spread the Positive studios right now.
Right on the
and
square.
They are growing. And so there's opportunities to, if you feel like you want to support us or some of the other Spread the Positive podcasts, there's opportunities. They have the 1200 Club, which both of us were a part of
Yep.
until we started.
Yeah, you could
this.
sponsor. You can even join the 1200 Club and get your own recording time. You can do, they can help you produce a podcast. So
I think it's right now, unless they have changed the pricing, it's like $100 a month.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's definitely worth it.
I'm gonna call it cheap. It's a good value.
It's definitely a good value. It's worth it.
You get some
So get it before they raise
yeah.
the prices, because if I was running this business, they'd be double or triple.
Yeah.
Because overhead's not cheap nowadays, and they just
No
added
doubt.
space down here in the square. So
For
sooner or
sure.
later, that price is going up.
For sure. But if you want some experience with the podcast and the studio, I think you got an opportunity to do that. So let's go get something to eat.
Yeah, man. Douglas Berger, Transworld Business Advisors, Murfreesboro. My man, Chris Payton with the 615, negotiating superhero.
Car buying superhero.
There you go. Screw it up. I'm going to get it once in a while. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Resilient Gentleman podcast. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and of course, please leave us a 5-star review. We will see you on the next one.